Hi guys, welcome to another video with Travels with Brad. I am Brad and I'm out here in Reunion at the moment. So in this video we're going to be talking about how to handle the first few days of your year abroad. So we'll start with sort of what you should be doing before you go. We'll go through to the actual journey, talk about that, tips, tricks, hints, advice, guidance, everything you could possibly want to know about traveling. And then we'll talk about arriving, what to actually do when you get here, then making the most of the first few days. So what you can do to make sure you have the best time and set yourself up in the right stead for the rest of the year abroad. So leaving home, what do you need to do before you leave, basically? So there's so many things. If you're going to study abroad, I'd like to think that your home university will have told you most of what you need to do, but there's a few things that they probably won't tell you. And the main thing I'd say is spending quality time with your friends and family, because you'll miss them, right, when you're not with them. Even your university friends, you might, when you're normally at university, you're going into spending 3 months with them until Christmas. But it might be that now that you're going abroad, you're not going to see them for a year. So you need to really make the most of your last time together. Give yourself some happy memory to look back on. And also with your friends from home. Your friends from home, you'll be back for summer, you'll want to see them, they'll want to see you. And they won't be thinking, oh damn, I've got to go abroad for a year, I should be spending extra time with my friends. But you need to be in that mindset, because there might be, say, 5 of them and one of you, and you're the only one going abroad. So you need to be the one who's making sure you have that extra impetus to spend time with each other, right? Because if you're not going to see them for a year, they're going to see each other for a year, but you're not. So you need to be that one making the decisions. The other thing is parents and grandparents, right? And siblings as well. So for most people, your parents will have been in the same country. If you really did need to go back from uni, it probably would have been 2-3 hours drive, maybe more, but either way, not an enormous distance away. Whereas now you're in a different country, everything's different, and just like the first few weeks of uni, you might be on the phone to your mum every day. And that's perfectly normal, and it happens to the best of us. Because your parents will worry as well, that's the thing. I didn't have Wi-Fi when I arrived here for the first week. I didn't have any data, so I couldn't really mess with my mum. My signal didn't work. My SIM just decided it wasn't going to work. Thanks Freedom Pop, by the way. My mum worried like hell for the first week. She had no idea what was going on. I did manage to find some Wi-Fi every now and then in various places, so I did message her just saying, look, I'm alive, I've only got Wi-Fi for like a minute, so don't worry, right? And then she was kind of fine, but just make sure you consolidate those relationships with your parents, not only so that you can reach out to them if you're struggling, but also because they'll appreciate it massively. It's their little baby going off onto the other side of the world or to the continent or wherever it might be. They will appreciate it. And grandparents as well. Spend that quality time with your grandparents, because it might be that when you get back, they're in a different state. Old people are forgetful. My grandma she always forgets where I am. She forgets I'm on the other side of the world. She forgets that I'm studying at Nottingham. That's just what old people do. Just consolidate that relationship with your grandparents, because they will appreciate it enormously as well. And you'll feel a lot better once you've gone, if you've done that. And so in a more immediate sense, what should you be doing before you go? I'd say travel for the journey as much as you're traveling for the trip. If your journey is, if you're traveling from Southampton to Calais and then onwards to Paris, then maybe not so much. But wherever it might be, if you're traveling long distance, you need to pack for that journey, because it's going to be at least a day, like a full day of traveling, and a lot of sitting around doing nothing. I had a 20-hour layover in Dubai, for example, and it wasn't even in Dubai airport. It was in this terminal that was just hellish. It was literally like I'd just been thrown into a bin, like a really fancy metal bin with really nice air conditioning, and there was nothing to do. So take books, even if you don't like books, take an audio, download some audiobooks on your phone, Download movies from Netflix onto your phone if you can. Even Sudoku, like if you're that bored, you will do them. It just depends how much time you're going to have, but make sure you have something, because airports will have Wi-Fi, sure, but you can only refresh Instagram so many times. Reddit was really good. A lot of people don't have Reddit or don't use Reddit, but even if it's just for the journey, I try and get your head around it and use it, because it's pretty much an endless resource of entertainment. Another thing, Spotify playlists, right? If you're into music, if you scroll down to the bottom of your playlists, it'll have suggested songs. Add them to a new playlist called, like Try This or For Later or Try Later or something like that, and then download that playlist. And while you're on the plane, while you're in the airport, while you're in a taxi, wherever you might be, you can just listen to that playlist. And because you're actually considering the song, you're trying to make a decision as to whether you like it or not, that sort of thing, it'll be fun and interesting, and it'll definitely keep you entertained. I downloaded all my playlists before I came out here, and I counted it by myself, and I have about 1,000 hours of music downloaded on my phone, and I'm already bored of it 2 months in. So you'll probably have access to Spotify, but just in case you don't, just download a ton of music before you go, even if it's just for the journey. Oh yeah, take snacks as well for the journey. Like, you will inevitably be able to buy things at the airport, but it will be stupidly expensive, and at the same time, they won't be the snacks that you want. If you're flying from the UK, if you're British, right, you might be able to get Quavers, say, for example, at Heathrow. But once you get to Malaysia, Dubai, the States, somewhere else, you won't be able to get them. So take like a multi-pack or something like that. Whatever snacks that you're going to miss, take some for the journey just to comfort you. So moving on to the actual travelling part. So should you sleep, should you not sleep? I think is the main question. Let's say, for example, if you're flying from London to Madrid at 6 a.m, let's say at midday, right? And you've slept from midnight till 6, and you've got 6 hours sleep. And then your flight's at 12, so you get there, and then you fly for 3 hours to Madrid, and you sleep for an hour on that flight. Because you've had that midday nap, you then won't sleep so well at night. So what you're best off doing in a situation like that would be to just suffer for the first day. It will suck, but just suffer for that first day, because you're not going to be doing anything massive on the first day. Most of the stuff will start on the next day. And if you've napped on the plane and you then have a rubbish night's sleep on the first night, you'll be shattered the next day. You have to wake up early, probably, and go out and do a variety of things, and you will be cream crackered, right? Think about that. And for more long distance journeys as well, like mine was really convoluted. So I had to I actually planned out with time difference and everything, like how much time I had when I was going to try and sleep. Also, don't sleep too much in one go, and just try and get a really solid night's sleep on that first night when you're there. Factor in time zones, factor in layovers. If you do have I had a 20-hour layover in Dubai, so I could have had a hotel in that time, but it was going to cost me something like £90, and I didn't want to spend £90 on a hotel just so I could sleep. There's a perfectly good floor, right? I didn't really sleep that much in Dubai, as much as I intended to at all. But it did mean that, when I got here to Reunion, I slept like a baby for the first few nights, which was fantastic. So yeah, just organise your sleep, make an educated decision, because it will really mess you up for the first few days if you get it wrong. And the second part of it is try to enjoy the journey. You're on an adventure, you're going around the world, even if it's just to the next country, you're still exploring, you're still making an adventure, right? So try to enjoy it, try to take those opportunities, because you don't want to look back at the travel and think, oh, it was rubbish. Well, travel's not supposed to be particularly exciting, but there's a reason people say it's not about the destination, it's about the journey, right? Because if you make the journey exciting, it will be just as fun, if not more fun, than the time you spend at the destination. So talk to people. Airports are full, understandably, of people from all over the world. The staff, oftentimes, in, for example, the terminal I was in Dubai. They really enjoyed it when I even just making small talk, it's something in their day. And also you can practice your language skills. If you speak, by some miracle, you happen to speak Arabic, in which case, congratulations, well done, I envy you enormously, then speak some Arabic. If you speak French and you're stopping off in Paris, speak French to people. Use it as an opportunity. See it as an opportunity and not a hindrance, right? So moving on to what to do when you arrive. Well, the first thing I'd say, as a general piece of advice for when you get to wherever it is you're going, is stay calm. You will have just come off a flight, you'll be tired, so you might not have slept a lot, and you probably won't make great decisions if you're stressed. Just stay calm. Accept that it might be part of the culture that no one has any clue what's going on. Yes, you'll be stressed and you'll expect it to be like the lovely, easy first world country that you come from where everything just functions perfectly fine, but it's not like that in the rest of the world, which you'll come to learn very quickly, I'm sure. It's not going to be perfect. So just stay calm, go with the flow, it will all work out. Don't get into a random car with a stranger and just say, I'm just going with the flow, I'm just seeing what happens, things like that. But don't stress out about things that are outside of your control, because you're just going to be wasting your time and energy, and it won't put you in a good stead for the rest of your year abroad. So now we're going to talk about making the best of your first few days. I'd say that this is pretty much the same as anywhere else. If you're starting a new job, starting at university again in first year, anything like that, it's exactly the same concept. Make sure you spend as little time in your room as possible. Try to meet new people. Go outside if you're in an accommodation and you have a common area, a social space or something. Spend time there, but also try and go out and meet the locals. If you prefer to do that on your own, or you might prefer to do that with other people, just do it. Make the most of the kind of adrenaline you've got on the first few days, that kind of, I really want to meet new people. Make the most of that, right? It's not for everyone, but you'll really regret it if you don't. So go out of your way to meet new people, talk to everyone, be really open-minded, don't judge anyone, be friendly, find common interests, things like that. I know it's so easy to say, and I'm guilty of not doing a lot of these things myself, but a lot of the time I wish I had. Just give it all you've got, go full steam ahead, and then you'll realise a few weeks in, once you've kind of settled in and everything's normal, you realise how different it could have been if you've done something different in the first 2 weeks. So, if you'd made friends with that person, if you talked to that person, if you'd made that relationship with the cleaner or with the receptionist, whoever it might be, those relationships and the actions you take are very much a butterfly effect for the rest of your time in that place. So finishing off then, how would I round that all up and summarise it? Well, thankfully, someone's already come up with a phrase for this, and that's just keep calm and carry on. It will be stressful, it will be overwhelming, it will be some of the busiest days of your life, but there's only one way around that, and it's to not let it get to you. So just keep calm, put the stress to your back of your mind, things that are outside of your control, just don't worry about them, and just go full steam ahead. Try to enjoy it, right? Because you're only going to get that experience once. You're only going to be able to travel to that place in that same way once. So enjoy it, right? Make the most of it, because you want to look back on it as a positive experience, not a negative experience. So that's everything from me today, guys. Thanks so much for listening. Sorry it was a bit of a long one. If you liked the video, thought it was useful, give it a like. If you've got any tips that I've missed, which I probably have, whack them down below. And if you think this is useful and you want to see more stuff like this, I've actually got a full in-depth video about traveling tips coming up. So if you want to see that, subscribe, whack the bell icon, you know the drill. I won't bore you with it, but yeah, there you go. So if you fancy seeing more, subscribe. That's it from me this week, guys, and I'll see you next week with another video.